You're watching the Hampton Classic Horse Show on WVVH-TV, Hampton's television.
I just wanted to first take a moment and thank everybody for taking the time and coming here and sharing. CANA was started because I've spent my entire life riding horses and around horses, and I owe those horses a debt of gratitude. Anybody who knows how horses are and spent any time with them will know that how important they are and what they've done for them in their life. Our wild horses are no different. They are horses. They have 4 legs, a tail, and a head. You know, this riding community doesn't understand that. Wild horses to them are something in a movie or a book, but they are real. And they are all connected. They come from the same place globally that all of our horses that we ride are. So they need our help. I'm extremely grateful that Congresswoman McCollum and Congressman King have come here and want to seek solutions and find the balance. And that is what we do. We seek to find the balance. We believe rewilding is the answer to many environmental problems, issues, and to the wild horse crisis. Rewilding is putting things back to the original state of being. So we want to help find balance to the wild horses in their environment, to help them find some stability in their breeding, and to share habitat with other animals. That's rewilding, and we need your help. We need people to help adopt these horses, give them homes, share their lives with them, and help us to find lands to rewild. And that's what we are doing. So I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nana Kalimian. Moses brings plenty.
Okay, I'll speak the language you all understand. Hello, my name is Moses Briggs Plenty. It's a great honor to see each and every one of you here today. You know, and when I first met Manda, I listened to what she had to share. And that's what I learned. I learned how to listen. And who gave me that ability and taught me how to listen was horses. Horses saved my life. I was born and raised on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And as you all know, we as indigenous people, as Indian people, we had faced been up against a lot of adversity. You know, we had a lot of trials and tribulations. But as I stated, the horse is my savior. And so now today, I'm here to bring the voice of the horses. Each and every day, I look at these wild horses. We call them Mustangs. But I want you all to understand and know this, please, that my people have always had horses long before the Spanish had brought theirs. We have words, songs, ceremonies, and dances that are specifically for the horse. And as Manda has stated, the concept of rewilding, if we want a healthy environment, we want healthier physical bodies, because today we have cancers, we have all these illnesses that we are up against. And it is due to the fact that we are excusing the Almighty Creator's first of creation. And we need to recognize and rebuild and remend our relationship with them. By opening our hearts and our doors, we are allowing a healthier environment for ourselves as people, because our bodies are very much replicants and resemble and represent the earth, the environment. And in all cultures and religions, we all know this. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So let's not allow ourselves as human beings to repeat what civilizations has done in the ages of man, for the ages of the human race. And let's put an end to it by, again, opening our hearts, our minds to the original, to the horses, because we need our planters, we need our land healers, and that's what horses are. They are land healers. I see it every day because we have wild horses on our property. and it is a blessing to see them every morning, throughout the day, and every evening. I spend as much time with them as I possibly can, and that is the truth. That is the truth. So thank you so very much for being here. And again, let's rewild our minds, step outside the box, so that we can allow our children to be rewilded. Thank you,
Moses Prince Plenty. Artist, author, poet, Roberto Tedesco.
Hello? Oh, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. I've been documenting the wild horses of Ceylon for about 25 years. And what I've learned from this 25 years of work on this spectacular island off the coast of Nova Scotia, that whatever we consider to be human emotion, actually it's universal. You can actually see it in the wild in a way that sometimes we don't see it in our cities. The wild horses of Sable Island have taught me many things. What they have taught me really is to listen and to admire them, and by being in their presence, to learn things that I did not know before. In that space that exists between a wild horse and myself, as I'm there alone with them, I have to be a different person, I have to be a different man. And I also have to think of myself as being a person who is equal to that horse. And therefore, if I think of me in that way, then I have to think of that horse as being equal to me. And in that space in between, perhaps a different conversation exists. This particular wild horses and the photographs that I've been doing over the many years have inspired many people. And my intention and the reason I'm here on this particular panel today is to help further the knowledge of the horse through beauty. I'm very much about beauty, and in the conversations that we have had for the past couple of weeks or months, my commitment towards CANA is to actually engage other photographers and other artists in documenting the wild horses in North America, and perhaps create something that nobody has ever created before, and through beauty to inspire the member of the Congress to think differently about the future of the wild horses in North America and ultimately the future of the planet. And the CANA Foundation does that and works in cooperation with CANA. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Writer, show jumper, Kelly Crociati. Kelly.
It's very difficult to follow all of you guys. Thanks for putting me last, no pressure. First of all, I just want to thank the CANA Foundation for having me and the opportunity to speak here today. When I was first asked to come here to this event, I was extremely excited. But then as I started to research and reflect on what CANA stands for, I became extremely emotional. Horses are my life. They're my passion. They're my partners. Most importantly, they're my family. I have a tremendous amount of love for what they do for me, and the appreciation that I have for them is difficult to put into words. So my heart truly breaks for the wild horses that are not treated with the level of compassion and respect that they deserve. But I do think that CANA is really stands for just all the right things. The rewilding is so important because horses are naturally herd animals and they need to be out with each other, and they just need to be in the wild. And I think that is something that anybody that loves horses can get behind, and that we can help preserve the American spirit of the horse. If we continue to stand by, and I also am a little bit this, being in the show jumping world, and I didn't know the depth of what was really going on, and the more research that I did, it really became apparent to me that there's a real problem here, and as riders, it's the least that we can do to make people aware of what these horses are going through. The CANA Foundation really gives a voice to the last wild spirits in America, and I think that's something to really be said, and it's something to make a priority. Not only do wild horses have a deep connection in the Wild West, but they also can heal the ecosystems, which I think is really cool. It's something that I didn't know, and it's something that you don't really think about when you think about horses. So I'm very proud to be here today and to be a part of this amazing foundation that all of these people on this panel have the same heart for horses that I do, so I'm very grateful to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly Cucciati. Let me begin with Congresswoman McCollum and Congressman King. It seems that Congress is in such a polarized partisan environment. It seems like there is hardly anything that Democrats and Republicans and Democrats can agree to these days. On the other hand, this issue seems a little different. This is an issue that, it seems to me, transcends partisan politics. Coalitions, bipartisan coalitions are building around it. So let me begin with Congresswoman McCollum. You're the ranking member of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior. You have a Republican chair. Tell us about the mood and the climate that exists on the committee and in Congress on the issue of protecting wild horses.
Well, being on the Appropriations Committee, you know, if you want to have good policy, you need to have the funds to make the policy happen. So one of the challenges that we have on our committee, both Ken Calvert from California and I have, is that our pocket of money for parks, EPA, Bureau of Land Management, Fish and Wildlife and all that, we're flat funded, we're level funded. And so when we watch this population go up, we know what is happening with horses in some of these ranges starving and then removing them. We want to come up with a solution that is going to be sustainable and is going to be cost benefit for the taxpayers, because we need to have them, and that's part of why I'm here. You're all taxpayers, we're all taxpayers. We need to be engaged in coming forward with solutions on this. And the solution is not to stick your head in the sand and say, oh, it'll all work out, or we don't have to do anything, or we don't have to have the tough questions. And it's been hard for Ken and I at times, because we've been accused by certain groups of supporting slaughter. We don't. Of supporting blanket euthanasia. We don't. We support coming up with a solution. But it's going to take willpower, and it's also going to take money that's going to have to be raised to do the things we need to do to turn this around.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman, same question.
Thank you, Steve. Actually, Congress became much more disruptive after you left. So. I agree with just about everything Betty said. I don't see this as being a real partisan or a philosophical issue. Part of it's an awareness issue. Part of it is dealing with the amount of bunch of money that's available. And I think it is important, though, I think, again, as I said before, the importance of an event such as this is to raise people's consciousness. And once it's out there in the public domain to be discussed, that's when we can hopefully find reasonable solutions. So with everything else we do fight about, some of it's right, some of it's crazy, some of it makes no sense at all. This is an issue I think that we can find some common ground on. It doesn't lend itself to talk radio, it doesn't lend itself to social media that much as far as making Republican or Democrat or left or right issue. So again, I think with people of good faith, and Ken Calvert, now you mentioned he and I got elected together. I know his heart is in the right place. Again, I'm not aware of all the intricacies of the committee, but I would think that Betty is a good partner in Ken Calvert, and I think that would sort of reflect what you see in the House. So with that, again, and I certainly will take my lead from people like Betty and Ken Calvert, because they're the ones who live with this issue every day, but it is something that has to be addressed.
Thank you. Of course, I was going to ask Peter and Betty, what was harder, traveling together to Iraq or traveling together to the Hamptons? And where was traffic worse? All right, Amanda and Moses, we have talked a lot about rewilding, but I'd like you guys to frame it and talk more specifically about what it means and why it's in the public interest.
You know, rewilding is a new term and understanding here in America, and Europe has been rewilding for nearly 100 years now. So rewilding is bringing something back to an original state of being. And you know, we cohabitate with the planet, but the planet keeps giving, but we don't give her anything back. So to rewild means bringing things back to an original state of being. So we believe that horses are of tremendous value in rewilding. So putting horses back in a specific habitat and helping to bring back other animals that work together, such as predation, will help to bring back certain forages, will help to bring back other animals, and will help to bring back healthy environments. And as Moses talked about, healthy environments are healthy for the planet, are healthy for the humans. We just need to find a balance in sharing the planet with ourselves.
Moses, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to give me Okay.
So, but in doing so, I just wanted to say, rewilding as an environmental asset turns into a personal asset for us.
Moses, you have rewilded, and what I'd like you to do is take us through that. There's wonderful footage, by the way, on CANA's website of what exactly happened. So, a horse is in a BLM holding pen. Take us through, step by step, what do you and CANA do with that horse? What does it look like? Where does the horse go? What happens in between? And if you have to stand up, that's fine.
Okay, so I've attended auctions and so what, holding facilities. And with the CANA Foundation, what we do is we acquire a certain amount of horses. Some of these horses range from 2 years old to 15, 18 years of age. And so we get these horses, both gilded horses and mares. And in some occasions, I'll take them back to our place.
What's the cost? How much do the horses cost?
Oh, the horses cost, they vary. You know.
It depends. It's $10 or $25. Depend on the range to purchase.
Yeah, so the cost varies. And of course, fuel, the transportation varies, depending on the distance that we have to take the horses. And we'll take the horses to either our place or to their final destination, and we will release them. And sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional because of the joy that I see the moment these horses, especially the older ones that had been held in captivity for a period of time, the moment they come off of these trailers, they dance. They literally dance. And they look around, and when we close the trailer doors, we try to do it in a way to not allow slamming doors, because they've heard steel on steel for too long. And I tell you what, the trauma that these horses experience, I take right now we have a young horse at home, and my wife Sarah Ann and I are working with this horse to see if this is a horse that will fit in a youth horse program on a reservation somewhere. And then we make a determination on which program or where this horse would fit in at, depending on their personality and how quickly they are willing to trust us again as human beings. So we don't rehabilitate the horses. We really, truthfully, are rehabilitating ourselves. And in the process, in rebuilding this relationship. And so when a wild horse comes up to you on its own, I tell you what, that puts you on cloud 12. There is no concept of cloud 9 in that moment. And it breathes new life into you, because something that is wild actually trusts me. My grandfather always said, if you really want to know where you are spiritually, let the animals show you. If they come to you, you're in a good place. And so I test myself that way every day. And so rewilding is very important. It don't matter, we can live in the city, and we're doing our part. So essentially, we're still rewilding for the children, for the next generations to come.
Kelly, in your remarks, you talked about your relationship with the horse. You said, horses are my life. And you've just heard what Moses has to say, his bond with those horses. How does what he said make you feel when you listen to him describe how the horses dance when they're released from those transports?
Like I said in the beginning, it makes me feel very emotional. And my horses, like I said, are my family, and they do amazing things for me. We ask them to jump over massive jumps, and they do it without even asking any questions. So I can really appreciate what Moses is trying to say. And we actually recently just rescued a small pony from a kill shelter in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And her name is Little Aurora, and the most rewarding thing is getting the pictures at home that finally somebody's allowed to touch her, someone's allowed to feed her. And I think that's something that you take for granted, especially in show jumping, because the horses that we have never known anything like that. So when you see a horse that has not been treated correctly, and then they begin to trust you, it's the coolest feeling in the world.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. Roberto, some of us approach this issue as members of Congress, and some as activists, some as donors and contributors, which we hope you'll all be. You have approached it as a creator through your creative talents. Talk about that. Talk about how being creative helps make a difference on this issue.
The gallery in the city has been there for about 13 years, and over the many years, many people have walked into that gallery just to look at gigantic images of wild horses. I mean, what I've understood from the very beginning, that most of the people, I don't know how many of you have seen a wild horse. Can you just raise hands? Just a few, right? So I wanted to create specifically a gallery that shows gigantic images, so people, when they walk into that space, they feel closer to the animal they may have never seen. And I've seen moments of silence. I've seen people cry. I've seen people laugh. I've seen people stand there, mesmerized by however they have felt. And what I have learned is this: that actually the idea of wild, and as I'm calling it, I am wild, is not out there. In truth, when we take care of exterior factors, the whales or the tigers, or in our case, the wild horses of North America, if you are part of the same system, then you are no longer taking care of just external factor. And what I've learned through the conversations of 13 or 15 or 25 years, actually, that the desire exists for people to participate into that idea of conservation. And I foresee a future in which whenever we take care of things which we have considered to be external to us, at the same time we'll take care of our own selves. So we'll no longer save dolphins or tigers or lions or wild horses. We'll actually take care of our own being and our own immediate families as human beings. So that's what I've learned through my art and through my artistry. And my commitment is to engage other artists throughout America to think the same and to create something that perhaps has never been created.
Thank you. Let's give all of our panelists a big hand.
You're watching the Hampton Classic Horse Show on WVVH-TV, Hampton's television.